Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We are keeping a close eye on the developing situation out of Thompson tonight. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorla. Glad you're with us tonight. About a dozen students and staff at Thompson Elementary got sick on school grounds today, and they were even sent to the hospital. Here's what we know as we go on the air tonight. At 9:30 this morning, staff members complained to the school nurse that students in one classroom were struggling to breathe and reported feeling sick.
Now, we're told the people who experienced the symptoms were in a standard classroom. The superintendent says the nurse acted quickly to get students away from any potential danger.
Our school nurse determined that there was a medical issue, and she felt that it was safer at that time to pull the fire alarm.
A dozen students and staff members were taken to the hospital. We're working to get an update on their conditions tonight. Officials still don't know what caused them to get sick, but again, they found nothing to indicate a carbon monoxide leak. The evacuation lasted 90 minutes and classes resumed as normal by 11 a.m.
All right, pretty scary. Let's get a check on the forecast now. We do have some good news on that front. The rain not here to stay. The sun is making a comeback.
Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here to tell us when. Rach.
Yeah, it looks like the sun will come out tomorrow. There were some signs of sun before the sun ended up setting for parts of Connecticut. You can see just a little bit of brightness out there for the New Haven area. But we have some showers that are exiting stage right, moving off to the east coast. And you can see right now we just have a leftover shower here in southeastern Connecticut, and it looks like just on the border of Rhode Island for Mystic and Stonington and Groton. However, there might be some low clouds, some fog, some mist that's lingering, and there could be a leftover light sprinkle out there. Temperatures right now are in the 40s, so we're not concerned with icing. Visibility is low for some of our valley locations, not low enough that you can't drive, but 1 mile visibility being reported for Windsor Locks. Once we get this front through here, we'll clear out that leftover moisture, but it might not be until 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. So a leftover shower or sprinkle right around that time frame, and then we'll dry things out as we head towards daybreak. Overnight lows will fall back into the 30s. I'm not concerned with a flash freeze type situation, but there could be a few sneaky slippery spots, especially for our cooler towns. Overall, it's a sunny start to the day, a really nice way to end the work week. Mild, just not as warm as recent days. And then we'll see increasing clouds tomorrow night with some showers late tomorrow night. We'll talk about the warmth that follows for Saturday and then the temperature dip. Full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thanks. Crews returned to the Connecticut River today to look for a driver after reports of someone driving into the water in Middletown Tuesday night. Police say this is a recovery mission, not a rescue. Officials say they have an idea of who they are looking for, but haven't released her name yet. The dive team pulled the car out yesterday. We're told tomorrow will be day 3 of their search.
Tomorrow's the deadline that the Trump administration gave schools and colleges across the U.S. to dismantle their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or risk losing federal funding. So far, we are not aware of any school district here in Connecticut openly making changes to their programs, despite the looming deadline, which is again just hours to go, about 6 hours from now. And sent out a letter back on February 14th that gave schools 2 weeks to end policies that treat students differently based on their race. The Connecticut Board of Education sent districts a letter of its own last night, informing schools that this directive is not a mandate. The state board also says federal funding cannot be terminated without a multi-step legal process involving a hearing. We also heard from Connecticut's largest teachers union about the guidance being passed along to educators and schools right now. Take a listen.
Our direction to our teachers has been, you don't change your behavior, you don't change your curriculum, you don't change your activities unless you're directed to do that at the local level. And if our local municipalities kind of start putting that pressure on, then we'll have to go into a space where we challenge that authority as well.
CEA President Kate Diaz went on to say that to her knowledge, no local teachers have been instructed to make any curriculum changes so far, but the anxiety within schools right now is growing with anticipated cuts to federal education budgets overall. I'll show you the programs and services most likely on the chopping block and what it really means for taxpayers who might need to make up the difference for funding. That's coming up tonight at 10.
At the Capitol tonight, Connecticut Senate Republicans are raising concerns over what they call a quid pro quo deal to keep Marissa Gillette as the state's top utility regulator. They are now calling for a delay in her confirmation vote. Gillette cleared a critical committee vote last week after a last-minute agreement between Governor Ned Lamont and Democratic lawmakers. Republicans claim that deal, which restructures PURA and adds 2 new commissioners, was struck to secure Gillette's reconfirmation. Ahead of a vote, they say the people of Connecticut deserve transparency.
The moment of doubt led the governor and legislative leaders to negotiate a deal that was finished last night, which would guarantee Gillette's reconfirmation by the committee in return for the nomination of this particular senator to be a PURA commissioner. I don't know how else to read that.
Republicans stress they are not making accusations, just asking questions, but Democratic Senate Majority Leader Bob Duff dismisses the criticism as a distraction.
It's a lot of distraction, it's a lot of chaos and confusion, and I don't think it's really proper to be leveling those kind of accusations here in this building.
Duff also rejects claims of a quid pro quo, calling them wild conspiracy theories. He says the nomination would have gone through regardless of any deal.
After a year of uncertainty, former Stone Academy students are finally closer to getting some compensation. A court officially approved a $5 million settlement between the state of Connecticut and the owners of the now shuttered for-profit nursing school. Stone Academy closed abruptly back in 2023 amid claims of unfair and deceptive practices. The settlement includes several requirements, including a 5-year ban on the Stone Academy's owner, Joseph Bierbaum, from working in higher education. The state won't keep any of the money except for $150,000. That's, they say, to help students prepare for their exit exams.
Well, Cromwell's public health coordinator resigned from his role. His last day is March 7th. Salvatore Nesci was placed on leave in November after the town found out he was being investigated for sexual assault. We're told Cromwell has been investigating him as well. Nesci is charged with sexual assault in the 4th degree. As we speak, Bridgeport investigators are filing charges after a potentially dangerous noise complaint this morning. Police went to the 100 block of Rennell Street after 4 a.m. Officers say Eric Rentera was acting strangely with a weapon. Neighbors were evacuated. The area was closed for a few hours. Officials say he resisted orders. After some time, he was taken into custody safely. Rentera was taken to the hospital to be looked at. His incident is under investigation. Well, new tonight at the Connecticut Fire Academy in Windsor Locks, this latest class of recruits are well into their coursework.
And as the class moves toward graduating, there are efforts to ensure that more recruits keep on coming in so our fire departments can try and stay fully staffed. Fox
61's Jim Altman has more.
From cadets to career firefighters, there are efforts to find more candidates to climb the ladder here in Windsor Locks. There is so much action across 16 acres at the Connecticut Fire Academy.
Today, the Recruit Firefighter program is working on a lot of skills from ladders to hose line advancement, as well as SCBA management.
For Academy Training Director PJ Norwood, his frontline fight is also about getting more firefighters in gear. Literally.
Good job. Come on.
Here's why.
In a recent study by the State Comptroller's Office, we see a 50% decrease in firefighters statewide over the last 9 years, with 62% impacting our volunteer firefighters.
Looking to steer more candidates towards the fire service, Norwood says just look up.
Okay, rest your body. There you go. There you go.
Jade Fagan and Leah O'Brien, both just 19 years old, began as cadets and will soon become career firefighters. Leah with Willimantic, Jade with Stratford.
It's a very rigorous job, and it takes a lot out of you, but the biggest part is that you're doing it with other people. You're not by yourself. It was the family aspect that kind of drew me into this the most.
If you have any interest at all, just push yourself. I wasn't super unsure when I first came to the Fire Academy, and then I came to the Fire Academy, I fell in love with it, and I never wanted to go back. So if you have any interest, any just like, oh, that looks cool, just push yourself.
And just providing a spark to find the firefighters of the future is part of the mission.
Contact your local fire department. Look for a career in the fire service.
Now, all you're doing is twisting to get it off.
Almost every town and city is hiring, and all the towns that have volunteers need your help.
And this particular class is 45 firefighters strong. They will serve 20 different departments all across the state when they graduate at the end of May. In Windsor Locks, Jim Altman, Fox 61.